Alright, how you guys doing? I got the wiring in the gauge pillar pods taken care of. This is what it's going to look like before it gets dropped into the car. As you can see, like I've reiterated before, I piggybacked my gauges from one to the other down the line. My main power and my main ground go to my first gauge, and then there's other wires ran to the next gauge and then to the next gauge. There's each individual sensor wires running to the particular gauges they need to. I do have those labeled, so I know which ones go where. One thing I didn't piggyback was my wiring for the lights. I didn't want to cut the wires that were on the gauges. I wanted to keep the gauges in good condition, so I used the wires that were on each gauge for their lights, and then I have it coming in. It does end up having a splice in it where 3 go into 1 and then 1 goes down. I was going to try to keep that splice inside the pillar pod holder, but I kind of ran out a little bit of room, so I'll see. Hopefully that fits okay going through the dash. I did make a harness that's going to end up getting dropped into the dash. I'll go down it a little bit here. And I guess you get the point. And then at the end, I got my labels for the sensor wires and a main power wire. For the main power and ground, I use a 16 gauge wire. For a lot of the connectors, I use the blue size, the push-ons, the eyelets. They might have a few different names for those, but I'll just call it an eyelet. And the regular connector here. I only ended up needing to use one of these, but that's what I used, the blue sizes. For your main power and ground, you'll want to use the 16 gauge. And then for everything else, you can step down to about a 14 gauge inside here if you would like. If you run the higher gauge, you're just going to have a lot of bulk where it needs to go through the dash. I haven't dropped this through the dash because once I drop it, it's going to stay. So I'll probably drop this through the dash and then wire up everything once I get my car off the lift. That's pretty much it. Don't forget to keep everything clean and put together as you go along, and keep everything labeled. I like to use different colors for my labels, just so they stand out. I got that painter's tape that I use. I do have different color wires for the main lights. I used a blue wire inside this harness, so I know that's for my lights. And obviously my black is my main ground. Other than that, I could just use red wire for all the powers and the sensors. If you wanted to get fancy with it, you can get a bunch of different colors so you don't have to run labels as much. But I had to use what I had. Some things ended up coming up short on me because I ran out of wire. Hopefully everything will still fit when I put it through the dash. If I have to, I'll just extend them later once I wire everything into the car. But for the main point, just wanted to show you the harness and everything I have set up with the gauges. Alright guys, any questions or comments, let me know. There will be probably another couple videos on putting it into the car and maybe doing up some wiring. Normally, I'm kind of going to go back to this main harness. Normally I would tape all of this harness or I would put loom on it, but I don't have enough room to drop it through where it meets to the to the dash, I don't have much room, so I'm just going to leave it kind of open, and I don't want a lot of bulk here so it'll fit. But that's pretty much it. Show another video of that, maybe get a little bit closer up. Everything piggybacks. Everything's nice and tight together. I did make it so this final gauge, I could pull it out, access all my wires, and then when I switch a gauge out, I can switch it out. Pretty much all the lengths here, I can pull them all out and fix them or change them or move them if I had to, which would be a pain in the butt, but I could do it if I had to. That's pretty much it for this video for today. Questions, comments, go ahead, let me know. Don't forget to subscribe to my thread. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube. Thanks.